So I think some of you remember seeing these yellow ramps that we've used. We've had these ramps for probably over 20 years. They've come in handy. They've done exceptionally well. They are collapsible, which makes them easy to transport. So over the years, I've come across, I don't want to say issues, but there are certain things about those ramps that have led me to look for something else, maybe a little bit more efficient, maybe a little bit better. There's nothing wrong with the yellow ramps. Certain things can go up and down those ramps a lot better than other things. For example, if we're pushing something that is very heavy on regular casters, a regular caster board, that's pretty good. But if we are trying to move one of our consoles up and down the ramp, that can be a problem simply because the ramps need to be moved closer together to support the width of the caster wheels on the consoles that we have. Alright, so I think most of you may remember this bridge. Probably seen it before. Did a video covering the bridge. Alright, so we've got something a little bit different to use now for ramps. Alright, so what I've decided to move to was an aluminum ramp that folds up like a suitcase. It can support, this one here can support 1,000 pounds. In videos, it's really hard to tell just how steep something is, if something's going up or downhill. This ramp actually is a little bit longer than when I extend the yellow ones. So the angle that you see on the video here, because I'm looking down on the screen, it shows that it could be rather steep, but it is definitely not steep. Okay, you can tell the lip of the ramp sits really good, flush with the bridge. And if you remember the previous ramps, those yellow ramps, I had these these keys that would fit in the ramp that would slide down into these slots that cut into it. And that was to keep the ramps down onto the bridge when I'm loading something heavy. Okay, so the clevis pins are going to help hold down the ramp, because a lot of the problems with pushing gear with ramps is if you're at the bottom of the ramp and you've got something heavy and you go to push on it, it's basically going to try to, as you're pushing the heavy load, it's going to try to push the ramp. And we don't want the ramp to move at all. So we're going to add these clevis pins. I'm going to drill some holes into the wood using these as a guide, but I'm going to go in sort of at an angle. I'm not going to go straight down. If I go in at an angle like that, it will help hold the ramp down. This should work out just fine for what we need to do. Alright, I've gone in at an angle. You want the clevis pin to fit in there as close as it can. See, that's about it right there. So I may have a few millimeters of an area that's going to be sitting up, but this should not present any issues. So we want to make it easy to be able to pull these pins out when we're ready to move the ramp. Alright, we're going to do the same with this side as what we did over there. The bottom of the ramp is touching the side of the tube before here, so I know we're as close as we can get to it. As I said before, it's just going to be a slight angle. Alright, let's give that a try. little bit more. All right, there we go. As you can tell, it's in there at an angle, so when the force from the bottom, so when something gets loaded on the bottom of the ramp and it goes to push the ramp, the force, it's going to be going against something that's at an angle. And as much weight as we probably put on a ramp at any given time would be maybe 700 pounds. This can be more than fine. So it just needs to hold the ramp steady at the top. All right, you can tell they're just easy to pop out. I'm just gonna pull the ramp up a little bit, and out it comes. All right, and probably for another video at a different time, I'm going to be working on getting a way to secure this ramp into the cargo van. The ramp's actually small enough. When it's together like that, I can usually just put it on top of whatever's in here and just slide it forward. Man, works perfect. All right, so some of you may be wondering how effective the clevis pins are, especially when it takes minimal force to pop them out for the removal, just as I've been doing. Well, the force that I'm using to remove the pins is coming from the sides of the ramp, not at the floor level or at the other end of the ramp. The force I'm applying on the ramp by tilting the ramp sides up is 90 degrees off of where the pins and their locations are designed to take the force. So what that means is when using the ramp the way it was designed, the force is coming from the bottom of the ramp, not on the sides. Also, what you can't see is there's physical contact between the underside of the ramp, just below the ramp lip that sits on the bridge, and the bridge itself. This physical contact also stops or absorbs a lot of the forward motion or energy when force is applied to the ramp at the other end on the floor level. Alright, so today we're going to be removing those yellow ramps. We're not going to be using those anymore. And we're going to be making like a caster board or a dolly that is going to be used to support the bags of mic stands that you see sitting on top of those ramps. And also, there's two tents over here. The gray tent is the one that you see us using quite often in the shows. The black tent on the right is a backup tent, or if we happen to do a show that's outside where we need a separate monitor console, that tent would be used for that. But anyway, the tent and the microphone stands, the bags, they're going to be sent on top of this dolly. so what we're going to do, we're going to make just a little basic kind of a dolly here that's going to support the tent and the stands on it. So we're going to connect these together using a piece of spare plywood between them. But this is off by about maybe 1/8 of an inch, just 1/8 of an inch too wide. So I'm going to trim this down so that it will fit in here a lot better. And really for this kind of work, precision does not matter. Just as long as something gets cut down like it should be. I'm going to secure this to the piece of wood so it won't move around when we're cutting it. I measured this earlier. This can be around 42 to 43 inches. So precision doesn't matter, just as long as it's on here. It's going to be basically sight unseen. We're going to use one of the holes over here. Alright, that's probably going to be about it. I'll probably go back and finish it, painting it at some point. But the thing to know about this is not going to be used out in the field. It's just something for here in-house to keep those mic stands and the tent on so I can move them around. If I ever did need to take this out in the field, I would probably really have to shore it up, make it stronger underneath here. All right, let's give it a try. All right, that's gonna work perfect. Let's see how it does with this tent on it. Because this tent is actually going to be the very bottom of it. It's going to be used for the base for the microphone stands. This tent and its case has seen some better days. Alright, as I expected, the top end weight is going to push against the wall, which is going to cause the caster board to slide out. Me involved just having to make sure it packs correctly. If you can tell or not, but it's sort of how the microphones are sitting in the bag, it's leaning more toward the back, so it's sort of pushing pushing in the way a little bit, but I think this is actually going to be fine. There we go. Just got to make sure the mic stand bags don't actually push against the wall or fall against it, which really is just a matter of making sure they're stacked on there okay. Perfect. All right, so some of you may be wondering, why do we use these bags instead of a lot of the cases? There's a lot of great rolling cases that are out there that you can put a few microphones in, or you can put a lot of microphone stands in. And I looked at getting one of those to allow room for all these stands to fit into. I would love to have it. However, when doing smaller shows, it's a lot easier just to grab a bag with what I know in here is probably 8 microphones. Microphone stands. If I just need a few stands, it's just easier to grab the bag and go. I don't have to take the whole microphone stand case when I just need a few microphone stands. So, at least for now, we'll probably just continue to use the bags. I love it. It's out of convenience. And really, one bag inside of the cargo van takes up no space. All right, thanks for watching.